and then politicians will redirect that anger, as Donald Trump did, appropriately to different targets that are vulnerable and marginalized. And you'll think maybe if we deport the Guatemalan guy that's like picking my avocados, then this country will finally be better. I'll be able to own a home. You won't. Maybe if we stop like a trans athlete in high school from participating in a swim meet.
The supreme leader is, and indeed the whole of the Iranian.
By the way, the International Atomic Energy Agency chief Rafael Grossi says Iran must account of its 400 kilogram stockpile of uranium enriched to 60%. And you know what's really funny about this? This right here shows that the International Atomic Energy Agency, that is supposed to be a completely independent agency, okay, is directly, and I will say this, they're not, like, until recently, they haven't been this aggressively Western slanted, in spite of the fact that 70% of all of their funding, 70% of all of their funding is directly about Iran, okay? This is proof that they are not invested in anything but working in service of U.S. interests, U.S. and Israeli interests, especially considering that right now the International Atomic Energy Agency's primary focus should be the fact that America bombed nuclear facilities, okay? America bombed nuclear facilities. You are the International Atomic Energy Agency. Your primary focus should be what took place yesterday. Israel has been bombing Iranian nuclear facilities for the past week. America just bombed Iranian nuclear facilities with bunker busters. What are you doing? How can anyone see this group as anything but an arm of Western imperialism at this point? Where is the interest in presenting the dangers that America has created for potential contamination, potential radiation? Well, like, what are we talking about? Isn't that your job? Iran allegedly gathered a lot of info that showed collaboration between the International Atomic Energy Agency and Israel. I mean, the other side of this, of course, is the fact that Israel has nuclear weapons. Israel has nuclear weapons. Israel is not even a party to NPT, and they have nukes. And we know they have nukes. Here's the danger: Iran with a nuclear bomb. Iran with a nuclear bomb is only a danger to you if you have ambitions of regime change in Iran, and if you have ambitions of turning Iran into a failed state. Are you John Bolton? Are you an American general that has tremendous appetite for destruction in Iran? Because yes, it is a danger if Iran has sovereignty. If Iran has sovereignty, then it is a real danger. It's a danger to your interests in the region. But if you're just like a regular person, if you're a regular ass dude, the notion of like Iran having a significant danger because they're going to use it is insane. Iran is infinitely more restrained than Israel. Iran has been infinitely more restrained than Israel. Okay? Israel has nukes. There's also only one psychotic country on the planet that has ever used not one but two nukes on a civilian population that it was directly in war with, and that is the United States of America. Other countries that are supposed to be incredibly scary have never actually escalated to nuclear warfare, and this even includes Russia, modern Russia. This certainly includes the USSR as well. To go in your direction, North Korea is showing restraint for now with it. Yes! No, that's my point. I was about to say, yes, the Democratic People's Republic of Korea, North Korea, has nukes. The entire point of having nukes at this stage is to have sovereignty if you are outside. Why do you hate the U.S. so much? Le Mafia. Oh my God. Look at what is taking place right now. America does not give a fuck about you. How do you not understand that? My beef is not with the American people. My beef is with the American government that very clearly does not give a shit about you. Every single dollar spent on Iran is a dollar that could have been spent on making sure that your children get educated, making sure that your roads are paved, making sure that you have better broadband, making sure that you have health care. But a lot of you guys eat that propaganda so hard where you're like, those guys are scary, so we have to bomb them into oblivion. And actually, it's fine. We have to bomb them into oblivion for a foreign nation's interest, Israel's interest in the region, and Israel's greater ambition in the region. And that's cool for me. That's fine by me because it's real scary. I've been told that these guys are really scary. This is literally people. The American government isn't even making an attempt at pushing 2004 style propaganda, and Americans are just doing that to themselves. How crazy, how insane. The Iranian foreign minister gave an entire speech. A very important primary document. Iran's foreign minister gives first press briefing after the U.S. attack, stresses how this was a blow not just to Iran, but the UN system and the NPT. He says, humanity has come too far as a species to allow a lawless bully to take us back to the law of the jungle. Except we are living in the law of the jungle. And this guy thinks that Western countries have a conscience. You can only appeal to the logic and sensibilities of groupings of nation states that have a conscience. America does not have one, okay? It is the law of the jungle. These guys are almost delusional in the way that they operate, thinking that America and Israel are going to be pressured by Western nations. It is very obvious that Western nations are only operating with one singular purpose. And in the region, they do not care how many people die in the process. They don't even care if their people die. They don't care if your friends, your neighbors, your family members are over there and are a part of the 40,000 troops that are positioned all around Iran. If they get killed in the process, so be it. Because ultimately, American GDP will go up. You won't see any of the benefits of that, by the way, that even the bounty of empire will not actually turn around. Even the bounty of empire will not turn around and benefit your wallets in the process, by the way. But it's all good. Line goes up. Israel gets to pursue its interests. It's fantastic. It's totally, totally great. It's great for everybody, except it's not great for you at all. But you have been deluded into thinking that, you know, there is a scary enemy out there and we just have to destroy them. And we can't let them live normal lives, have their citizens go through the regular process of civil struggle so they can like modernize, have more civil liberties in the process. We just have to constantly never offer a moment of respite to lick their wounds and to develop their societies. They have to constantly be fearful of American incursion. They have to constantly be fearful of American campaigns. And every now and then we will blow them up. Look. And as long as this kind of attitude persists, laws equal good, USA equals bad, as long as this kind of attitude persists amongst the American population, the broader American population, America will continue getting away with it. They'll keep stealing your lunch money. You'll keep going back to your shit-ass job with the hopes that one day maybe you'll be able to own a home, and you'll never own a home, and you'll just get further and further resentful and more angry, and then politicians will redirect that anger, as Donald Trump did, appropriately to different targets that are vulnerable and marginalized, and you'll think maybe if we deport the Guatemalan guy that's like picking my avocados, then this country will finally be better. I'll be able to own a home. You won't. Maybe if we stop like a trans athlete in high school from participating in a swim meet, will I actually improve my life? You won't. And you'll just keep getting angrier and angrier and angrier as all of the dollars that you contribute to creating at your shit-ass job will go back. All the tax that you pay will go back to endless, unlimited and unlimited and you won't get anything. But hey, Lockheed Martin will have incredible returns on their initial investments year over year. Raytheon, Boeing, Halliburton, not the people that even work there, ironically enough, just the people that own stocks in these companies. You won't be that person, but it won't matter. You'll just delude yourself into thinking that your life is better year over year. Do you just relate trans athletes to taxpayer money mismanagement? Yes, I did. Are you too stupid to understand the direct through line You're angry because your life is not improving. Your life is not improving because we spend all of the money on doing wars overseas and increasing militancy around the world and creating instability and chaos. And when you're angry, one party takes that anger and redirects it to vulnerable populations that have no control over this process whatsoever, that haven't done anything to you. Trans athletes would be a perfect example of this. But you have been so invested in this notion that as long as we eradicate transgenderism from American society, that my life will be better, that you think they're doing this for you. When they say we're banning the 40 trans athletes from participating in high school and collegiate athletics, you literally are stupid enough to think, oh, my government cares about me. This is something that I totally wanted. And when you, and when the truth is staring you right in the eyes, you always have to resort back to thought-terminating cliches, thought-terminating cycles. You go, oh, this guy's he loves the enemy. You think I haven't heard this before? You think this is my first foray? This is exactly what people said during the Iraq campaign. That was also illegal and unjustifiable and incredibly bloody. And what happened then? Now, 20 years after the fact, you turn around and go, yeah, that was a mistake. Yeah, if we survive 20 more years, maybe you'll turn around and go, yeah, maybe it was a mistake to go into extended conflict with a nation with 92 million people. All the money that went to that instead of back to things that would improve my life. But yeah, keep going. Keep going. Oh yeah, the people that demand a change, the people that want America to improve, America to do right by its own citizens, those are the people who are. Asmold is encouraging that is considered reasonable, yet you saying that our tax should be used to benefit us instead of killing people is considered mind-blowing. Yes.
As the president returned to Washington, lace and the swagger were maybe a hint of what was to come. He was back, we had been told, just for...
Yeah, here it is. This is a good Nick Mullen tweet. 2043, Lindsey Graham being kept alive by stem cells extracted from the testicles of a 5-year-old. Of course, the war with Iran was a mistake. We all know that. Qatar is different. They don't let gay people drive. Yeah, can't wait. Can't wait for all the takes, the hot takes. Like, you are not a part of the ownership structure of the military-industrial complex. If you are a regular-ass American citizen, every moment that you celebrate this kind of violence is a moment that they're stealing your lunch money and you think you're an actual participant. You're not part of the team, brother. You are not a part of the team, little bro. You are not anywhere near the team. You're a dumbass on the sidelines going, nah, actually, this is great. My lordship knows better how to use the grain stocks than me. You are a serf. Didn't you call this? Pakistan nominates Trump for Nobel Peace Prize, praising stellar statesmanship. I don't want to get into Pakistan. Also playing both sides. Anyway, here's a take about the whole, like, Iran wants to kill us, death to America
is a
shit.
thriving country of 70 million people. I want to know what makes them tick. I'm in their capital city, Tehran, with about 12 million people, and there's a veneer of hatred there. I mean, look at the banner there. It's an 8-story tall American flag made out of dropping bombs and skulls for stars and stripes, saying "Down with America." And we've all heard about death to America.
I saw a clip of a terrified streamer when Israel bombs fell over Tehran. What did she do to you to deserve you wanting her to die? Wait, are you talking to me? Why are you talking to me? Do you think I'm in favor of America or Israel bombing Tehran? Are you out of your mind? Do you think I'm a different streamer? Are you insane? They keep calling me a terrorist for me specifically saying that is unacceptable. Are you confused?
To America and so on. I was in a taxi in that traffic jam there later on that day. It was just silent, and suddenly my driver just bursts out, "Death to traffic." And I thought, no, wait a minute. I thought it was death to Israel or death to America. He said, right now it's death to traffic. And I said, well, what's with that? And he said, here in Iran, anytime something's frustrating to us and out of our control, we say death to that. And I thought about that. I thought, boy, I'm so glad I'm here to understand this with a little more sophistication than a bumper sticker. So he speaks Farsi, he doesn't speak English, he's translating it directly, and to him he's saying, damn that. And I thought, well, have I ever said damn something? Have I ever thought, damn those teenagers? Well, yeah, I have. And, do I really want them to die and burn in hell for eternity? No. It's just after midnight. Turn down the music. Damn those teenagers. So when we travel, we gain a little better appreciation of what is the baggage that people are carrying when they respond to us. Their baggage, and they've got 1/4 of our population, is losing several 100,000 people when Saddam Hussein, funded by the United States, invaded their country. And that is baggage. And when you travel around Iran, every town's got a vast martyrs cemetery filled with victims of that war. And for me to see a widow sitting on the tomb of a dead loved one, as she's done every week for decades, knowing the propaganda she's lived through and the struggles she's lived through, that's baggage. I got to understand what she's going through if I can understand their country better. I wanted to know what makes 70 million Iranians tick, and I found out a lot by going to Iran.
Resurfaced photo shows of New York City mayoral candidate Zohran Mamdani with leftist streamer Hasan Piker, who once said America deserved 9/11. This is so funny. What a hilarious line of attack. Yeah, dude. Since that, I got a New York Times article written. They're panicking so hard. What do you mean resurfaced, dumbass? I'm an American political commentator on the left, a progressive American political commentator on the left, the largest one, as a matter of fact. The notion that, like, oh my God, they're a Polymarket account. I didn't know this was like sponsored by Polymarket. Resurfaced, a big secret. Yeah. If only you knew, Newswire. I also did a 3-hour broadcast with him. I know I was mentioned in Politico as well. They're trying to use every avenue they can to attack him. Resurfaced equals I just saw it. Dems invited you to the DNC, therefore Dems support 9/11. I know, it's so stupid. This shit does not work anymore, okay? Newswire is going to shit when they see some of your more popular clips from that day. Yeah. Iran condemns U.S. strike on nuclear sites as criminal aggression, warns of regional escalation. This was the source of the resurface. Oh, brunch libs. By the way, it's a choice to campaign with a guy who said America deserved 9/11 in New York City. Brunch libs. Brunch libs account. The centrist Dems are hitting every angle they can. Every angle they can. They want cop rapist Andrew Cuomo to be the New York City mayor. Mainstream media is so out of touch, they don't know you got more viewers tuning in on a Saturday night than them, and that is Zohran's a rocket ship right now. Anyway, let's continue. Yeah, also, Epstein affiliate Bill Clinton endorses Andrew Cuomo for New York City mayor. This is an internal struggle within the Democratic Party right now. Okay? An internal struggle within the Democratic Party. Do you actually want popular momentum? Do you actually want leadership that will fight for your rights? Or do you want old pedophile rapists to continue running the party and not do anything and just sit aside and allow people like Donald Trump, old pedophile rapists on the other side of the political spectrum, to dominate politics and dominate political discourse and slowly but surely make your lives worse year over year? It's not really a struggle. Is it all the power players want the old pedophiles? Yes, this is not me talking to the power players. I know I can't change their position. Their positions rely on them doing this, okay? I'm talking to the voters. I'm talking to the people. This is one of the few instances where the population, the people, the actual voters can make a decision that puts them in the driver's seat. And it doesn't end after the election anyway. Centrist Democrats, exactly. Centrist Democrats doing exactly what they did to Bernie in this weeks after writing 1 million articles on Lost Touch with. Yeah, we got the Lord endorsement. We good. I mean, none of that is going to matter. There is a incredible faucet, an incredible unlimited money faucet that is launched. The level of your hypocrisy is quite astonishing at this point. My hypocrisy? Wrong. Dems control legacy media. We all know that. Peddle false narratives all the time. Brainwashed. The party of lies. Wait, we got a hog in the wild. What is the hypocrisy here? I love hogs that come into this chat because they just I'm in the process of shitting on Democrats, but they are too stupid to understand that I'm doing that. So they think, what's this goddamn libtard saying again? I bet he's saying some dumb shit about the Republicans. Don't worry. I have a lot of smoke for the Republicans too. But why would you use the most inopportune moment to make your position be known when I'm in the process of shitting on the Democrats? Anyway, is your chat sad today? What? Their hopes of Israel getting nuked in the gutters? Dude, 8-month subscriber. What the? October 7th leavers are coming back. Crazier chat wants one country to nuke another country. There is no, that's not happening. The only country that has the capabilities of nuking another one is America or Israel. And Israel has already dumped multiple nukes worth of munitions into Gaza. And America just bombed nuclear facilities at the behest of Israel in Iran. You guys live in opposite world. This is day 3 of us asking to watch the $20 million Iraqi Sesame Street. Wokeism equals R-wordism. Oh my God, 8-month subscriber hogs. How does this happen? When did this brainwashing take place? This was a very rare Pokemon. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe COVID. What is taking place in this chat right now? I don't understand. They just come in, say some dumb shit, and then off too. There's the other side where it's like there's no retaliation. There's no response. I'll be like, what do you mean? What are you talking about? Why have you given me so much money if you're this delusional and this right wing? It was a ban appeal chatter who was already banned. I don't get it. Why do you want to be unbanned if you have this much hatred? If you're this delusional about what this community is about or what my statements are about. Leaving for content, potential pet. Oh, that's why. Okay, nice. Let's keep him in here. I like it. Following the U.S. military strike on Iranian nuclear facilities, Iran's Foreign Minister Abbas Araghchi delivered a wide-ranging press conference in Istanbul denouncing the attacks as grave and unprecedented violation of international law and calling for an emergency UN Security Council meeting. Foreign Minister warned U.S. and Israel now bear sole and full responsibility for the consequences. Declared diplomacy suspended, suggested Iran's response could involve military retaliation or strategic escalations in the Gulf. Here are some key points made by the Iranian foreign minister in more detail. This was not just an attack on Iran, it was an attack on the UN Charter. Iran's top diplomat accused U.S. of crossing a red line by bombing peaceful nuclear sites in violation of Article 2.4 of the UN Charter and Security Council Resolution 2231. It was also, this is correct. It was also rule of law and international law which was bombed. And before people go, lol, peaceful nuclear sites. Yes, dude. They are targeting the civil nuclear grid. Okay? They have been striking every single nuclear power plant that is a part of the energy grid, the energy infrastructure of Iran. Okay? This is not even remotely allowed. This is completely not allowed. Demanding accountability from the International Atomic Energy Agency and the Security Council, the U.S. betrayal of diplomacy twice. Iran revealed it was in the midst of negotiations with both European powers and the U.S. when the attack occurred. We were in the middle of diplomacy, but we were attacked militarily, he said. He accused the U.S. of giving the green light to Israel to strike first, then following with its own attacks. Trump deceived his own voters. The foreign minister directly criticized President Trump for abandoning his promise to end U.S. wars, claiming that Trump submitted to the wishes of wanted war criminal by aligning with Netanyahu. He said the administration was now doing the dirty work for Israel, which is also true. Iran reserves all options. Declining to reveal military plans, the foreign minister stated that Iran reserves the right to respond under Article 51 of the UN Charter. Asked about the possibility that Iran would close the Strait of Hormuz or retaliate against the U.S. bases, he said, there are a variety of options available to us. This still shows a level of restraint, for the record, from Iran. The only people that have said, we're going to take the war to you, have been people on Iranian television, you know, with the red banner, the red flag raised and whatnot. But all of the Iranian leadership and their statements have basically been fairly restrained, saying like, oh, we'll reserve a time and place. We'll reserve a time and place for what kind of retaliation we will show. Silence would plunge the world into an unprecedented level of danger and chaos. The foreign minister warned that international silence would have grave consequences. He called for the International Atomic Energy Agency Board of Governors in the UN to urgently convene, condemn, and take action against what he described as a blatant act of war by the U.S. We never trusted the West, and now we trust them even less. When asked whether Iran still has faith in diplomacy, the foreign minister replied, "We never trusted Western countries when we negotiated with them, and now there are even more reasons why we shouldn't trust them at all." Iran confirms regional diplomatic efforts underway. Iran confirmed meetings with officials from Turkey, Saudi Arabia, Qatar, and Russia, including an upcoming summit with President Putin. The minister said many regional states were willing to mediate, but right now my country is under attack. On Turkey's role, the minister praised Turkey's condemnation of Israeli attacks and its role as the OIC chair. They indicated they were on our side, he said, which is not true. They clearly aren't. They're a NATO nation. But this is just playing the role of you have to play the role of diplomacy, which is to just basically act as though these countries are not directly antagonistic to your position in the region. On China and Russia, he described both countries as strategic partners and said Russia and China had already been working on a UN resolution before the strike. Iran will coordinate closely with Moscow on the next steps. Responding to Trump's threat of greater and easier future strikes if Iran doesn't make peace, the minister said, it is not up to Iran to respond to that. It is the international community's responsibility to stop this madness. Indirect talks with the U.S. were underway, but are now suspended. Iran said the recent negotiations mediated by Oman had been suspended, but that some channels remain open. More clips and details to come as we track the fallout across the region. Do these sleeper cell threats have any validity? I don't think so. I think it's just a way for, it's like the anthrax stuff. It's just a way to universalize the paranoia. To be like, oh, Iran is coming to get you in your backyard. It's going to kill you. I've said this already, but like I would, if something like that were to happen, my immediate assumption would not be that it was conducted by Iran, especially considering how their hands are full currently with the regional conflict that is a existential threat to any kind of future Iranian state. Aman hayır yok ben kendim alırım şimdi. Sıkıntı yok. Yo, boş ver sen boş ver. Ben kendim alırım. Peki. Yok hayır.
For a security briefing in the Situation Room. But these images instead captured the most decisive, critical decision of his presidency so far. With his top team around him, he had ordered a strike on Iran's nuclear sites. Within a few hours, he was addressing the nation and the world beyond.
Tonight, I can report to the world that the strikes were a spectacular military success. Iran's key nuclear enrichment facilities have been completely and totally obliterated. Iran, the bully of the Middle East, must now make peace. If they do not, future attacks will be far greater and a lot easier.
We know now that a number of B-2 stealth bombers dropped numerous bunker-busting bombs on the Fordo nuclear site. It's located to the southwest of Tehran, and it's believed to be the country's main nuclear enrichment location. It lies deep underground, beneath a mountain. Navy submarines also fired 30 cruise missiles at other sites. It is not independently clear yet how successful the strikes were. But look at these, taken yesterday by Maxar Technologies. They show what's described as unusual truck activity at Fordo. 16 cargo trucks at the entrance to the site. So did the Iranians manage to move equipment before the strikes? It was only on Friday that the president was talking about a 2-week chance for diplomacy.
Does Iran have 2 weeks, or could you strike before that? Are you essentially giving them a 2-week timeline?
I'm giving them a period of time. We're going to see what that period of time is, but I'm giving them a period of time. And I would say 2 weeks would be the maximum.
But the talks in Geneva with the Iranians were not a success, and his position changed.
There will be either peace or there will be tragedy for Iran far greater than we have witnessed over the last 8 days. Remember, there are many targets left. Tonight's was the most difficult of them all, by far, and perhaps the most lethal. But if peace does not come quickly, we will go after those other targets with precision, speed, and skill.
The threat there is clear, that the hardest bit has now happened, and that if he is pushed, he will go after the Iranian leadership. His judgment, it seems, is that one night of decisive, game-changing airstrikes will end Iran's nuclear program for good, but also force the Iranian government finally to de-escalate. It is a huge gamble. In Jerusalem, the Israeli Prime Minister was framing this decision as a new dawn.
His leadership today has created a pivot of history that can help lead the Middle East and beyond to a future of prosperity and peace.
The jeopardy is now huge. The president is gambling that Iran will not have the capability or the guts to hit any of the many US bases in the region. The worst case scenario is that they do. If Americans are killed, this will spiral fast. And on Iranian state TV, the threats were quick and direct.
We were negotiating attacked. You made this choice. You started this. The 40 to 50,000 American soldiers in the region are now legitimate targets.
After days of ambiguity, a president now decisive. Where next? It is impossible to tell. Mark Stone, Sky News in Washington.
What the?
As the president returns.
Which video was privated?
I'm just going to interrupt you for 1 minute, Ali, because we're looking at some images that have come in the aftermath of some strikes, the ballistic missile strikes that Iran launched on Israel. And we understand this is from central as well as northern Israel, which is where the alerts were coming in from. Of course, we got an alert here in Jerusalem. Northern Israel, central Israel, over the course of the last few days has been hit quite hard. Haifa has been hit, and as has Tel Aviv. So this nation on high alert. You can see some of the damage done in those images.
Yeah, I've been to many of the impact strikes over the last few days, and the damage is extensive. I mean, do not underestimate the damage a ballistic missile can do, not just at the direct site of impact, but the blast wave that it gives off will blow out windows, blow off roof tiles, literally tip cars over for a pretty big radius, 50, 100 meter radius around. Now, one of the reasons that the death toll in Israel has been relatively low is because of safe rooms. Not every house has a safe room, although modern houses, it's absolutely part of the permissions you must get is to have what's called a mamad, a safe room in your house. But people they know where their bunkers are, so they go to them, and that helps save lives here. Also, the alarm system is incredibly sophisticated, and people obey it, and that helps keeps the death toll very low, despite what you're watching here, which is massive, massive destruction.
Yeah, and
This is part of the reason why I said. This is part of the reason why I said that the American intervention was for two different reasons. The American intervention was so that Iran would change its focus to American assets in the region, also in an effort to change its attention and its strike priorities away from Israel, because Israel's air defenses are diminished. I think this right here shows that reality, proves that reality. Because the very fact, for the record, when you say, why is Iran not targeting Israel's military bases? We don't know. And the reason why we don't know if Iran is successfully striking Israel's military targets is because Israel has a severe censorship regime implemented over the country, where even though Iran has been striking military assets, whether it's anti-air defense systems or whether it's actually military bases, we don't see that. This is why I've been saying for the past week that when you see any sort of successful strikes from Israel, that means the Israeli government allowed you to see it because it plays a role in this narrative. Remember that. Why are you pretending like Iran got some superpower? They're just too scared to unleash it. When have I said that? I didn't say that at all. What are you talking about? I've been pretty reasonable with my analysis on Iran's capabilities and Iran's strike priorities and what Iran has done so far. judging by what Iran has done in the past. I don't think that Iran has like a secret weapon. I don't have any sort of hopium, copium, any sort of thing like that at all. If anything, people constantly say I'm too pessimistic about where this conflict will go. You acting like Iran could do some devastating attack on Israel or America, but they can't? No, actually, if you were to listen to my words, I'm saying the exact opposite of that. I'm not saying Iran has the capabilities of doing a devastating attack on America. I'm saying that Iran could attack American assets in the region with medium-range ballistic missiles that are directly in the strike distance, while still continuing to lob hypersonics in the direction of Tel Aviv, and also the military assets in Tel Aviv as well, or around Israel proper. But I think you're not listening to my words. I'm saying that it is clear that Israel's air defenses are diminished. If that wasn't the case, then Iranian drones would not be able to strike yesterday and the day prior targets within Tel Aviv. And that is what we know of. That is what we have seen thus far. It's kind of an odd thing to say while we're looking at the impact strike of an Iranian missile that previously is considered unprecedented. Previously, this kind of retaliation that Israeli society could experience was unimaginable. People go like, what are you talking about? I think a lot of you forgot Operation True Promise 1 and Operation True Promise 2 showed that Iran had ballistic missile capabilities that could actually penetrate the Iron Dome, the Arrow defense systems, and David Sling, which is precisely the reason why America sent in defense systems. And yet, even with THAAD and with all of these anti-ballistic systems that Israel has, Iran's missiles have still consistently hit Israel virtually every single day. Yesterday, they did not send any ballistic missiles. The day prior, they only spent drones. They only sent drones, and drones that actually passed through the Iron Dome, the Tamir interceptors that they have, which was also unique. This means that their anti-air defense systems are spent. They are exhausted. There are clearly issues with Israeli defense. This is the first time that Israel is experiencing repercussions for its dangerous escalations in the region. Israeli society is, for the first time ever, experiencing direct damage, a fraction of the damage that Israel brings about the entire region, that dishes out to all of its neighbors, whether it be southern Lebanon, whether it be Lebanon in general, whether it be Gaza. Obviously, Gaza is completely hollowed out at this point. It's just one massive crater. This has been an incredibly costly endeavor. Tamir interceptors are, I believe, 200,000 a pop, and they're lobbing a ton every night. There was one example of a hypersonic that they sent, just one. 26 Tamir interceptors were launched to try and intercept, as a last resort, this one hypersonic missile, and that ballistic missile hit the target directly. This kind of tit for tat is also a war of attrition, an exhaustion of resources, and a way to deplete the existing anti-air defenses that Israel has. And while Israel claimed that they had a runway of like at least 2 weeks, we don't know what their stockpiles obviously look like. It's understandably confidential information. The way that we can make an assessment on how much their missile stock has depleted is by looking at the actual impact. And considering that early on, when Iran was expending their older missiles and sending barrages, sometimes 100 at a time, and having most of them get intercepted with like 1 or 2, if not 10, directly striking Israel. Now Iran is spending. Iran is sending ballistic missiles, maybe 2, 3, 4, 5 at a time, and the actual percentage of successful strikes has increased dramatically. It went from 10% success rate to like 60%, 70% success rate. That is a real issue for Israel. So either they have to keep flying over Iranian airspace that they now dominate, as their claim is, and try to find the launchers and blow them up as quickly as possible, with the hopes that they don't have additional launchers out there, that they can still continue lobbing hypersonic missiles directly at Israel's direction, which that's what they've been trying to do. Or they have to magically invent new missiles, and there's only a finite amount. And there's also a missile production that will take a tremendous amount of time. I was skeptical of hypersonics before this war, but these attacks show me that they're extremely effective. Yes. I mean, they've been hitting hypersonics. They've sent one cluster one as well the other day with the one that hit the hospital. What does it mean to mine the Strait of Hormuz? The Strait of Hormuz is like a 32 is it 32 miles or 32 kilometers? It's like a very small it's a much tinier waterway, that 33-kilometer waterway that Iran could take complete control over with mines. It's very narrow. It's a narrow passage in a obviously like a much broader sea. This is here it is, the satellite image. The Strait of Hormuz is a strait between the Persian Gulf and the Gulf of Oman. It provides the only sea passage from the Persian Gulf to the world's most strategically important choke points. Now, the reason why it's a strategically important choke point is because 20% of all of the global oil comes from that choke point. It has to pass through. There is tremendous amounts of commerce, tremendous amounts of vessels that pass through for international trade. But more significantly than that, there's a lot of oil barrels that pass through this tiny patch of water that can be easily mined, and not easily, but like that can be controlled, at least for an extended period of time, that will be unimaginably disruptive to global trade. Yeah, a third of the world's liquefied natural gas and almost 25% of total global oil consumption passes through the strait, making it a highly important strategic location for international trade. It has been so for centuries. Its vast hinterlands were rich in luxury trade goods with no easy access to lucrative trading ports. And as of today, the Iranian parliament voted to close the Strait of Hormuz in response to recent U.S. strikes on Iran nuclear facilities. If it's successfully blocked for an extended period of time, you will experience an oil shock.
That
everything
sort of
will go up in price.
Alert system that Iran doesn't have. In fact, many Iranians were talking about not knowing exactly when they should move, although the Israelis have said that they've sent them alerts, or there have been phone calls, automated phone calls, very much out of the Lebanon playbook, where they were telling them to get out.
Yeah, I should say as well, it is worth noting, that alarm system does not exist for Palestinians in the West Bank, for example. They don't have shelters, and, there haven't been any missile strikes there, but falling debris has fallen there. Occasionally, actually, I say that, I think a missile did land quite close to Hebron the other day. The same goes for the Bedouin community in Israel as well. They often make the point that they don't have shelters, they don't have access to shelters. So that is always a problem. But yeah, the system here, the home front command system here, is incredibly sophisticated, developed, of course, over many, many years of conflict, but it is trusted, it is obeyed, and that does save lives. I was actually at a strike point the other day where a missile went directly into a safe room, and it did kill people in the safe room, but they say that as long as it doesn't literally hit you directly in that particular room that you're in, your chances of survival are very good indeed.
Yeah, and many people question, the number of the number of ballistic missiles that have come Israel's way. Why is it that the death toll isn't higher? And it's exactly that point, that people follow the sort of requirements and the rules that have been set out for them, and they get these alerts and stay underground, and that's why we have seen injuries. We saw a hospital hit the other day. Also, schools have been told, and other public places, people have been told, stay indoors, go into your bunkers, because, Ali, they do expect more ballistic missiles coming Israel's way.
Look, it's 8 to 9 on Sunday morning. This is the first day of the working week. And I know you're watching these pictures, but behind main roads in central Jerusalem near the Old City, and I can see 3 or 4 cars and that's it. At this time on a normal Sunday morning, it'll be busy, busy traffic, but people are staying at home. They're not going to work. They're not venturing very far from their homes, and they're staying there because of the risk that is still being posed by Iranian missiles coming in.
Yeah, very much so. And this country, this nation, as well as this region.
Israeli economy is over. I mean, this is, I'm sure, not great for the Israeli economy, but the Israeli economy is basically propped up by the Western world anyway. So I don't know.
Is currently now on high alert, and the images you're looking at right now are from a barrage of ballistic missiles that came Israel's way in the last 45 minutes or an hour or so.
Don't worry, guys. We'll give another $20 trillion to Israel, you know?
Of course, are following all the developments here from the ground. We've got our correspondents across the region. We'll be getting reaction from them. So do stay with us, but we are going to leave you with these images for now. We'll be back in the next few minutes.